Oh, Lions. All right, for people on the YouTube live stream, you're seeing this raw, all the mistakes, warts, everything. This is actually being recorded now live if you're watching this, and will go into full post-production and then production for Thursday, April 26th. So here we go. All right, it is April 26, 2018, 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., depending upon how things go. This is Travis, and I am Oscar Mike Radio. How are you doing tonight? And tonight is episode 90. And since I have no guest, none whatsoever, I'm just going to, as we say in the Marine Corps, shuffle up, stand up, and walk to the door and jump right out. Marine Corps. So I'm going to start with the question of the week. And the question came to me is, why are you doing the question of the week? Why are you doing the weekend safety brief? And in both instances, the question of the week and the weekend safety brief are trying to, one, engage my listeners. Gotten some really cool questions from them over the last couple of years. And two, the weekend safety brief is about me getting on camera. There are people out there who want to see me on camera, and I can't imagine why, but they do. So here goes. And the weekend safety brief was set up to get me more comfortable looking at myself, which again is kind of brutal. But here we are. And the weekend safety brief, people want to know too, what is the weekend safety brief in the military? And it's a fair question. I know all you hard chargers out there who've been in the military know what it's about, but the civilians want to know, and I'll answer it. So you go all the way through work, and when you're in the civilian world, you get to Friday at 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. You punch out, you shut down your computer, and you're off work. You're going home, you're going to the soccer game, you're going to t-ball practice, you're going out with your colleagues to get a drink, or you're heading to the airport to travel somewhere, or you're just going to go and hit the red box, pick up Domino's, and go home and chill, right, on Netflix or Redbox, whatever that is, right? Not for us in the military. That'd be too easy. It'd be way too easy. You stand in formation at around 1600 hours, which is 4 p.m., and you stand there and stand and stand there, and you're, at least in the Marine Corps, when I was in, your section head, which is your corporal or corporals. You had your, platoon leader, which is your sergeant, the senior sergeant there, and then you had your platoon sergeant, and then that's how you did it, right? And your platoon sergeant would come out, and generally it's him doing it. Sometimes the lieutenant would come out and drop pearls of wisdoms in our brains to help us be safe and secure. Now Gunny didn't care. He wanted to go home and start drinking. So it was like, don't F up. If you F up, make sure you call, the duty NCO. The duty NCO will call me. And I hope to God it's something good, because if I get dragged away from my barbecue this weekend, someone's going to pay. No, forget that. You all will pay Monday morning, right? That was his. Now, the lieutenant would be a little bit more precise. And Lieutenant had four that he liked to talk about. One, Marines should never be alone. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, I love my brothers and sisters. I'd do anything for them. But there were some weeks on a Friday or Saturday, if we were working Saturday and we got secured for Livo, that the very last thing I wanted to do was spend more time with my fellow Marines. I had to eat with them, shower with them, shave with them, sleep with them, smell them. I was done. But he wanted everybody out there to make sure that we had a buddy. Well, I rode a motorcycle in the Marine Corps, and I would go off on a motorcycle. So that automatically made sure that at least 9% of my platoon couldn't bother me, which was great. He didn't like that too much. He didn't like motorcycles. Don't know why, but that was the truth. So don't be alone. That was his first thing. Second thing that he was very clear about was don't drink and drive. If you're going to go to Calexico or Mexicali or Algodones, make sure you have somebody who's a designated driver. And a lot of times that was yours truly, because I didn't drink. So I had to be the designated driver / babysitter for my brothers who, got plastered in Mexico, which was funny until it wasn't funny. And it wasn't funny when the federales showed up. Just listen to the story from the time. Third thing that he was very clear about is Marines should practice good self-control when it came to birth control. He didn't exactly order us to, but he wanted us to make sure that we had protection in case we were entertaining a lady or multiple ladies. He's very clear about that. It's just what he felt was important. And the fourth thing, which he got from Annapolis when he was in Annapolis, was he would ask to see proof of registration, proof of insurance, and look at the inspection sticker on your car, because he was told it was a good idea to make sure that his Marines were actually, truly safe. If they got pulled over by the police, they had their paperwork in order, they knew where it was, and the inspection sticker was current on their car. Now, I don't know if he ever caught any of us. I don't ever remember him getting anybody. And at the time, it seemed kind of stupid. And it wasn't stupid until one of our buddies got pulled over by the tribal Indian police down there in Yuma. I forget which tribe it was, but he had all his paperwork. And even though he got ticketed, he's respectful. He has paperwork, and I guess the Indian police cop was going to nail him even harder if he didn't have it. And that's a whole other podcast for the time. That was serious stuff. If you got pulled over for speeding on tribal land, littering, loitering, I mean, you name it, you were not the home team. So they have a right to enforce the rules of their land, sovereign land. I get it, but he was happy that he knew right where it was able to produce it quickly. Not that it helped him any, but he was happy he had it. So again, the lieutenant was very clear about what was going to happen in terms of your auto safety. Make sure you got the proper preparation for that kind of activity, which I'm like, I don't really want to tell him that kind of stuff. Make sure you don't drive and drink or drink and drive. Not that it did any good in certain situations. And never be alone, which I violated all the time. So that was the weekend safety brief. We had it pretty much every weekend, and we had a longer one because when holidays hit, and we have a 72, which is 3 days off, or a 96, which is 4 days off, 4 days in a row, we'd get the, our section sergeant would give us the brief, our platoon sergeant would give us the brief, the lieutenant would give us the brief, the first sergeant would give his brief, and then the battery CO would give his brief. So that from their perspective, they were thinking there's no excuse if something goes wrong that these Marines weren't told. For us, what should have taken 5 minutes took an agonizing 40 minutes to 45 minutes staying at attention or at parade rest when it was 112 degrees outside on a Friday night. It sucked, especially when the fruit flies started hitting us. So a little background about the weekend safety brief and how it happened, and what was involved for all you civilians out there who never had to deal with that. I'm going to keep doing them. I got number 4 coming up this weekend on Friday the 27th. It's just a way for me to get my face in front of the camera and get comfortable with that and have a little fun at the same time. Okay. All right. I am just stoked because today is episode 90. That's right. Episode 90 on Oscar Mike Radio. Generally, I meet 3 kinds of podcasters. I meet podcasters who have done 200 episodes. They've got their YouTube dialed in. They have an entire room stood up. They've spent thousands of dollars on equipment. They got a marketing budget. They're all set. You got podcasters like myself who are just now getting to within field goal range of episode 100. And it's like, wow, you're actually okay. This is kind of cool. We're getting somewhere. And you got podcasters who are just starting out, either trying to produce their first episode or are in episode number 9 or 11 and are finding all the same stuff I found out. And what I found out is podcasting to a lot of people is very weird still. There's a lot of people that don't listen, don't understand, or they think podcast, they think Joe Rogan. Or there's people that are really, really fired up about it. They get it, they understand it, they want to be on it, they love it. And you run the gamut, right? And for me, there are episodes that are extremely challenging to do from many different factors, many different ways. And some episodes that are just frustrating to do because of either technology or trying to make sure you stay on schedule. Certain challenges dealing with guests. Generally, I've had very good guests. I've had guests that are very engaged. But, sometimes you get off topic. Sometimes things don't quite work out. Or sometimes you just need to let that guest talk. They have something to say. They're trying to talk about something that's important to them. And it's not about me. It's not about what I'm talking about or my agenda. I want to let them talk. And it's very important, right? And then it's just weird stuff like the time I forgot to hit the record button, or the time I forget my microphone, not my microphone, but my headphones. You see me on the live stream wearing these headphones. There's a reason why. It's so I can hear myself. You need to hear yourself to be effective. And editing frustrations where I'm like, I can't get this to work right. This is a long time ago. Now I'm starting to really understand the software, understand the process, understand the terminology. And I hope you're hearing the improvement. If not, let me know. Travis at OscarMikeRadio.com. Would love to hear from you. But the good thing is there's been fun. There's been a ton of fun doing this. I really enjoyed getting to talk to Megan Bruce with Sergeant Megan, and to see somebody else who is producing her content, her brand, the way she wants to, and it's just crushing it so far. It is great to interview Michael Dara and Julie Lovely with Horses for Heroes. Going to have Tim Montjoy back on with Operation Team. I'm going to talk to the Taco Shell crew again about the tacos they produce. Really, one of the more emotional episodes for me was talking to Jody Raneste. I don't know if I got her name right. I'm sorry if I didn't, Jody. About her brother who committed suicide due to PTSD. I mean, that was tough to hear, man. That was really real. And you can sit there and say that Jody didn't have much radio or microphone experience, but I mean, that was a real episode. That was a real thing. And I was just honored and blown away. I had to sit back there and let her talk and hear her story. I was really kind of taken aback about what she was trying to do. It was really good. Just several of the people I've had on over the last year and a half. Albie Robbins and Tiny about burnouts for vets. That was a great episode. That was a lot of fun to do. I enjoyed talking to, I'll call my brother-in-law, about his support dog It's a true support dog. It really is. And what it's done for him and his family has been amazing. Those things have made all this work and effort worth it. And there might be people who don't understand. There might be people who, don't get it. There might be people who think this is weird or just a hobby. It's more than that to me. And 90 episodes, from what I've been told by other podcasters and other people in the radio business, is nothing to sneeze at. And it's nice to hear, but it's really nice when I have listeners interact with me and give me ideas and ask questions, which is where the question of the week comes from. A lot of it's from those people who want to engage with me or have ideas for shows or have criticisms about what I do. A lot of what you're seeing now is because of those people. The reason I'm doing this YouTube live stream now versus another time is to kind of try this out. Again, there's people out there listening who want me on video, which I don't think I should be on video, but you all do. So we're giving it a try. And by trying new things that are difficult or I'm not used to or I don't know how to do, it's forced me to grow in many different ways. And so this is kind of the first countdown to episode 100. Just appreciate everybody tuning in and checking this out. So I don't know if you've been watching any of the hold that out. That happens sometimes. So I don't know if you've been watching the Facebook feeds or any of the veterans groups that are out there, but last week this story went absolutely critical mass. And I have it here in the blog post, and I'll just go over on a very high level and what I think. Saw this video of a reenlistment ceremony with this Air Force sergeant, and she holds up her right hand, which she's supposed to do, but she started making this like talking sound with it while she was saying her part. And come to find out, she had a sock puppet on. Well, this whole thing went critical mass, man. I mean, people got upset online about it and really laid into the person videoing it, the officer that was presiding over the ceremony, and then the sergeant herself. And I have the picture that was really offensive to a lot of people in my blog post on OscarMikeRadio.com. And it's this Master Sergeant Robin Brown. She's an E8 with the Tennessee Air National Guard. And you can make fun of the Air Force, you can make fun of the Air National Guard all you want, but to me, when you get the rank of E8 or above, I don't care what rank you are, even if you're an officer, that person has accomplished something that very few will ever accomplish in their professional military careers. So hats off to her for being an E8. Okay. No qualms about it. She did operate at a very high level. And she not only was an E8 in the Tennessee Air National Guard, she was also the part of the Joint Public Affairs Office for that part of the Air National Guard. So in the entire state of Tennessee, whenever you would see like a picture or a video or a news clipping or a press release, she had her hands in it, and had her hands in it for a very long time, because unlike the normal military, the Air National Guard is pretty much stationary. You're going to serve the Air National Guard. You're not going to deploy unless we're in a conflict time frame. You're going to do operations for sure, but you're not going to be in Tennessee 1 year and then Germany for 5 years. It doesn't work that way in the Air National Guard. It's the Air National Guard is kind of like the National Guard. It's to defend the state, or it's a state's militia. So she was around that environment and those people for a long time. And again, you don't get to be an E8 by goofing off, or as some of the very hateful. I mean, there were some haters on here saying she probably slept her way to the top. No, you don't. You don't become an E8 by sleeping your way to the top, people. You become an E8 by being good at your job and taking care of the people that you're, in charge of, and by making sure the people that you report to are happy with what you're doing. It's a lot of work, a lot of thankless work that people don't see. So she wasn't bad at her job, okay? And she's being sworn in. Now, I'm at a loss for words right now because I can't believe that I even have to talk about this. So just to back up a little bit here, when you do your reenlistment, and she's an E8, and she's probably going for her E9. I think it's Master Technical Sergeant of the Air Force. It's a pretty prestigious enlisted rank, right? So she's re-upping for their 4 years. Now, in military lore, and I've seen it personally, you as the person re-enlisting can ask for a request. Some people, like I saw Marines getting re-upped. They in Okinawa, they would dive with their command underwater and they would re-up there. Or if they all rode motorcycles, maybe the lieutenant and the battalion CO would go out on their motorcycles, and they do the re-enlistment with the bikes, all parade routes, which is really cool. Or they do it on a paintball field. They do it at a pig roast. I could go on. Or they just be stupid, right? He might dress up like he was a Warhammer character or a Star Wars character and do it. What I'm trying to say is it's not as serious as you might think if you don't want to be serious. And there's some guys who want the true traditional military experience. And when you're standing there, he has all his colleagues and subordinates and senior people, and watching him get take his reenlistment oath of reenlistment and do that. He might have his family there, might have his wife, read him whatever. It's a very serious. It can be a very serious thing. So I'm looking at her doing this, and the guy who is swearing her in didn't raise his hand. I'm like, well, that's kind of odd. I mean, really, you should raise your hand, dude. That's like basic, military protocol 101. But while they're reading the oath and she's swearing back, she has a sock puppet on, and she is, using the sock puppet to swear herself in. And people went absolutely ape over this. So much so that the one of the main, head honchos, Major General Terry Haston, Adjutant General of the Tennessee Air National Guard, kicked her out, demoted pretty much the colonel to lieutenant colonel, and that guy retired the next day because his career is effectively over. And the first sergeant who was recording it got written up. I was like, my God. I thought at first, maybe they'd get a talking to, right? Or, maybe, might have to, put on their video explaining what they were doing. But I never thought in a million years that an E8 would get kicked out over doing this. Kicked out? I mean, what kind of discharge is that? I mean, did she lose all her VA and other benefits because of a sock puppet, for real? And I guess I'm asking that question. I mean, wow. I mean, was that really, was the punishment, did the punishment fit the crime? Really? And then I would ask everybody who got upset. I mean, you do realize people out there who are getting upset over this and firing up all their righteous indignation over what this female master sergeant did and this lieutenant colonel, how nasty they are. I mean, you do realize that there are veterans who still can't get their medical care from the VA. You do realize we have at least still, even though you average it out, it's about 20 to 22 veterans killing themselves every day. Every day they're killing themselves. You do realize that the F-35 is millions of dollars over budget. Each one costs about $130 million. It was supposed to cost about $40 million per copy. But yet we can't get an updated M4 to replace our frontline rifle for our Army and Marine Corps. And I could go on and on and on about things that, make me go, How Vietnam veterans who were exposed to Agent Orange still can't get claims to the VA efficiently. And you're going to spill all this virtual ink on a woman who, if you're an E8, you've been in the military for at least 16 to 18 years. And you're re-upping one more time to retire, right? You're doing that. You're rounding third, you're coming home. And you guys are all happy that this person got kicked out. Of all the things that my military brothers and sisters do to warrant getting kicked out, I don't think this is one of them. And I'm not the only person who thinks this way. I read an article on Task and Purpose by Adam Weinstein. He's a senior editor, a Navy veteran. I have a link to it in my blog post. And he echoes my sentiment exactly. In a day when we're trying to retain people and get people to sign up for the military, like the Air Force has a legit, Air Force and Air National Guard have a legit retention problem because these people can leave and go out in the civilian world and make more money. I mean, if you're going to get busted down over this hard, are you really going to want to sign up? And the military life is hard enough as it is. Does this really warrant the response? I thought you'd go hardcore and maybe make an example by making them, give a statement or explain what was going on with that, or use this as a teaching moment. I didn't think you'd actually take this and fire people over it. So, that's just how I feel about this. I think people are getting upset over the wrong things. I think there's other things we can do. And I think it's silliness. I understand that the Major General Hassan had to do something because of the viral reaction to this. I just think, sir, you could have taken this a different way and possibly used this as a moment to teach and understand. And okay, yeah, shoot her out behind closed doors, shoot him out behind closed doors. But I mean, the three people affected by this, the first sergeant who was the videographer, lieutenant colonel, and the master sergeant, had almost 60 years combined service to our country. I mean, was this really worth the reaction? I mean, if they had done this without anybody videotaping them, would you have had the same reaction? Probably not. You probably wouldn't have even known about it or cared. So I just think it was a little heavy-handed myself. And all I can say to Master Sergeant Robin Brown is thank you for your service. I don't know if we'll ever cross paths in my travels in life, but if you do, I don't drink, but I'd be happy to buy you a beer and talk about it. And if you don't drink, well, I got a plan for that too. Nothing bad, nothing untoward. Just I want to be able to shake your hand and say thank you for serving our country and your state, in the great state of Tennessee. And that's just how I feel. So I think it's sock puppets. Edit that out. I think it's sock puppet silliness. I think this could have been done a whole different way. Thank you for listening. And if you have any feedback, let me know. I am Omar, and we are out. So that's the end of the live stream. I might play around with the camera angle, whatever. Now what happens, this goes and then get this ready for production on Thursday. And that's a wrap.